So these are basically our monthly costs, whether we operate the business or not, whether we make money or not. We're ending up paying $2,775. So when you start looking at our revenue, you come out to a cash flow number of $1,725.
Aren't Airbnb re-rentals, aren't they illegal?
It's totally different than a long-term rental. And then as you come on in, you've got the dining room and living room here. We made sure that we had the appropriate number of chairs to match what our guests can be. So typically we'll have as many as 8 guests here.
Okay, but what about taxes?
Taxes. I love this question.
Hey YouTube, I know you got questions about Airbnb, especially Airbnb re-rentals. The reason I know is you guys are constantly hitting me up with these questions. So in today's video, we're going to try and answer all those questions, including the 3 most common questions we get asked about Airbnb. Is this legal? What about taxes? And what's the worst thing that's happened to us while running this Airbnb re-rental property? In addition, we're going to share with you all the numbers, including what cost us to furnish the property, what we're making, and how much work it actually takes for us to operate this Airbnb re-rental. We've experimented with multiple different management styles and strategies, and so I think we've honed in on the one that really works for us, and we're going to discuss that in this video. If you guys are enjoying my video, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Oh, and we got a private Facebook group for you guys to join. It's called Double Your Gross Rent, and the reason it's called that is because we think as landlords, you should be able to double your gross rents with Airbnb. Join that Facebook group for free by checking out the link in the video description down below. Let's get into it.
What's up guys, Adam Martin here, and today I'm going to walk you through our Airbnb re-rental that you guys have been hearing all about in our Facebook private group, and we're going to be answering a lot of your frequently asked questions on Airbnb and whether or not Airbnb re-rentals are legal. Right behind me are all the numbers, so stay tuned. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Lambeth. This is our first attempt at a re-rental and it's going really great, so I wanted to walk you guys through it and show you how we arrived at some of the decisions that we made in terms of the furnishings and design and management. So come on in, I'll show you around, give you a little tour, crib style.
So Adam, we're in an Airbnb re-rental here. Aren't Airbnb re-rentals, aren't they illegal?
No, you have to disclose this though to your landlord. You can't simply approach a landlord and start renting the space out and not tell them that you're doing this. But what you guys have to do and what you guys have to focus on is being transparent with your landlord and getting your disclosure done right away and on paper. Because we're actually offering a service. Airbnb is a platform where people are transacting. It is totally different than a long-term rental or anything that's specified in the Residential Tenancy Act. So guests all enter through the garage. We've got a super fancy door on the front door that won't allow us to use an automatic lock, but that is naturally what we would want to do. So if you guys have that opportunity, make sure you do it. But for now, we just use the keyless entry in the garage. It still lets our guests in at any time whenever they'd like to, and doesn't require us to be here for them to check in. So it's great. Guests walk in, first thing they see is our laundry machines, a facility here, so they can do whatever laundry they want if that's an option for them. Otherwise, our cleaners obviously use this as well to make sure that we keep some fresh linens. So walking in, we've got fairly simple bathroom that we walk into. This is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house. So this bathroom is fairly basic. Make sure you guys have your cleaning supplies in here. Lots of toilet paper. People love face cloths as well. And one little feature that we want to make sure we have in all of our buildings, first aid kit, guys. Make sure that's accessible. Make sure that you know where it is. And make sure that you share it with everybody. And then all throughout the house, you'll see this is kind of our first IKEA product that you'll see, but there's about $12,000 of IKEA in here. This is all matching. All the bathrooms have sort of this bamboo look. So it's just simple, guys, and that's a refillable soap. It makes it really easy for your cleaners to come through and just use the same products every time. And then as you come on in, you've got the dining room and living room here. The dining room, we went with a simple table from IKEA again. We made sure that we had the appropriate number of chairs to match what our guests can be. So typically we'll have as many as 8 guests here. There's 8 chairs so that everybody's got a spot. And if for whatever reason they have more guests, then there's lots of seating around. We've got more stools in the kitchen. But we went with this simple neutral color, easy table. It actually expands quite a bit bit as well, so we can take this table with us and these chairs to our next re-rental, and if it's larger or smaller, we can simply add chairs or expand the table as we wish. So that's a pretty easy solution there. Coming into the living room, we mounted a large television. It's a smart TV. Everybody knows that you need a smart TV in 2019. It's one of the simple things that you can spend money on that will just give your guests a great experience. They can log into their Netflix account, they can log into whatever accounts that they're using and make sure that they can just continue watching from where they left off. So super simple here. We've got a sectional couch. This one's actually got storage in it, so you can lift up the one piece of the sectional, and then there's extra blankets and those little things in there that people love to see in 5-star Airbnbs, so we want to make sure that we have all that cute stuff. And then coming into the kitchen, massive kitchen, we got just some stools from IKEA as well. So these are really cute, great color. They match the table and they match sort of the theme of the kitchen and everything. And we've actually had comments on these, like people love the stools. We've got all your basic stuff in here that you want to see in every rental. So we've got a microwave, we've got coffee machine, that's super important. So we've got the Keurig here, we've got a Costco supply of K-cups, and then we actually went a little bit over and above here and got like a fancy spice rack and some nice knives for them to use and a toaster. But that's pretty much it for the kitchen, guys. This place came with all of the appliances. So we've got the fridge here. It's pretty simple too. It makes water and ice and whatever they need. And it came with the stove as well. But if you have the option and you have to get the appliances, get something a little bit nicer and you can bring it with you when you go. And another point is that it was all stainless in here, so the things that we got now, and these are cheap alternatives, the microwaves from the Superstore. So if you're Canadian, that's just like a Canadian grocery store brand that makes stuff that looks nice, but it's inexpensive. The microwave costs nothing. It was like 75 or 80 bucks. And the same with the Keurig. They look great, they're cheap, they're easy to use, and then you don't have that big pot of coffee that everybody's scooping out of. I think that kind of creeps people out, so it's a little bit better to go with something that is more health conscious, like, you know, there's not multiple people's hands in it or any opportunity for contamination or anything. So that's kind of cool. If we carry through to the hallway here, we've got a place for them to hang their coats. This is Ontario. We have winter here. Right now we're kind of getting into fall, so it's going to be raining a lot. But in the winter, there's going to be winter coats, and 8 people in big coats. You want to have a place for them to hang their stuff, and we've got lots of space there too for changing or getting their shoes off. This is the funny lock that we have that we can't get an automatic lock on, or an automated lock. So there's like 5 rack and pinion things in here, I guess, and it just doesn't allow us to have that automatic lock. But if you guys don't have a system that takes 7 turns to unlock, make sure you're using an automatic lock so that you don't never have to be here. I'll take you upstairs. This is where the magic happens.
Okay, but what about taxes?
Taxes. I love this question, and I love my answer. I have no idea, guys. Like, stop trying to be a CPA. Even Matt McKeever's a CPA, and he doesn't want to be a CPA. He doesn't even do his own accounting. Let somebody that's professional, that does this every single day, worry about the numbers for you. And that's not to say you shouldn't understand it. You should have a discussion with your CPA and discuss with them your exact situation, because the answer from every CPA for any question you ever ask them is, it depends. It's like asking about whether or not this strategy is for you. It depends, guys. But sit down and have that conversation, figure out what your goals are, and figure out what your revenue is going to be, and ultimately discuss that business model with your accountant. Pay the professionals. They're going to do it better than you can anyways. All right, so getting upstairs, this is where the other 2 bathrooms are. This is sort of the common bathroom for the other, like the rooms excluding the master. So the master's got its own bathroom. But coming into here, you really want to make sure that you've got a few different little things that can be overlooked fairly easily. Bath mat. Have a bath mat. People really hate when they've got to get out of the shower and they're just stepping on the floor because somebody didn't think about what they have at home versus what they would put in a rental. If you have it at your home, consider putting it in your Airbnb. So have your bath mat, have some good shampoo and conditioner and body wash that actually gets you into the working class because you've got the basic amenities. So you really want to focus on that. And then another thing that we added is just like a nice slow close garbage can. Make sure you have those little things so that people aren't kind of looking around for that. And one little bonus material that we got, it was so cheap to add it, but so convenient for travelers, is a toothbrush holder. It's like $7, and people love that feature. So want to make sure too that we've got a healthy supply of our linens up here and any kind of consumables. So we've got lots of towels. We bought 16 towels for this property, so everybody's got 2 towels. So if there's 8 guests, there's still lots of towels. There's lots of face cloths in here. Stick with, this is controversial, but trust me, stick with something that's not white. The white gets destroyed immediately. It absolutely gets destroyed, and you can try bleaching it all you want, but there's something to be said about 2019 foundation and eyeliner and mascara. It doesn't come off for anything. So I really like that blue product from IKEA. Coming into the bedrooms. Bedrooms are fairly simple. There's really not a whole lot in these. We put a dresser in here and we really didn't need to. For the most part, most people aren't going to use a dresser in an Airbnb, but it becomes really strange if you just have a bed in a bedroom. So do those little touches. I mean, these things cost like, I don't know, Peter will overlay the video here, but these things cost like maybe $250 or less. So you're gonna recover that cost really fast and you can continue using them forever. The same things to be said about the nightstands. So the nightstands, always just put 2, completes the look of the building, and those are the little things that are going to get you from, say, a 4-star to a 5-star. Right? And another thing you want to have here is have your phone chargers, have any other little accessories that are fairly cheap and will pay you back fast, but lead to a really great guest experience. So at the end of the day, guys, if you can't get that 5-star experience and really maintain it, you're going to suffer in the long term in terms of your revenue. It doesn't take too many bad reviews to start dropping below superhost status, and for potential guests to start noticing and really reading through those comments like, oh, there's nothing here, it's a shell of a building, it's just a bed. That's not what people want, especially with Airbnb, so keep that in mind.
Okay, this can't all be money, this can't all be gravy every single time. Come on, there's gotta be like one bad thing that's happened in re-rentals. Give me a story.
Yeah, and I mean, this is going to be no different than any other business venture, especially in the real estate investment world. There's always risk, there's always horror stories. One of the worst things that's happened to us actually just happened 2 days ago from when we're filming this, and it's really not that bad. And if you guys follow the best practices we're talking about in our private Facebook group and in our course, you guys will find out that really none of this affects us. So, our worst horror story, the worst thing that's ever happened to us, is we recently had somebody like puke on the walls. So they must have been having a bit of a party here, and then they were sick, threw up on the wall, and now who has to deal with it?
The management company.
Yeah, not me. That's the quick answer. Not me, not Jeff, not Matt. We have this stuff all hired out, guys. This stuff runs itself. They were in here with steam cleaners today fixing that problem for us because that's what they're paid for, right? So the worst problem that we ran into is really not that big of a problem. I mean,
I think it's something that Matt always talks about on his channel.
Yeah. What was that?
Problems or
profits, guys. You can't be focused on some of these minor horror stories. Now, of course, you'll see stuff in the news where a house gets trashed or whatever. Guys, it's all insured. You followed the steps that we outlined in our course. You followed the steps that we're outlining in our private Facebook group where we discuss all of these strategies. And so we know that you're insured. We know that you guys have a management company that specifically deals with this in a timely manner. Okay, coming through, each bedroom is the same, so same setup, same night tables, same dresser. We did that because if anything ever breaks or if we ever need to replace anything, we know exactly what we got into. We know how to get parts for it or replace it, and that just really kind of ties the whole look together, especially in a nicer house like this. So we wanted to make sure they're all the same. So there's another bedroom there, it's exactly the same. We keep a linen supply in here. And then coming into the master bedroom, so let's say giant bedroom, but you'll notice it's got sort of the similar design features, so same nightstand, same dresser, and obviously it's just a fairly big attraction. And then we come into the master bathroom. This is something really special. So it's got the massive shower. These are features that you want to highlight really well in your photos. So make sure that you guys are getting professional photography and really showing off these little features like this giant bathtub and this massive glass shower on your listing photos, because this is what's going to make you stand out from everybody else on the market, right? There's not going to be too many of these on Airbnb. And again, same setup in here, lots of towels, all the same towels so that it's easy for your cleaner, and all the same soap and soap dispensers, all the same materials used throughout to really standardize everything and make it easy for you and your operations team. So you want to make sure your cleaners have an easy job when they come in here. Alrighty guys, that's the house. That's the Airbnb re-rental, the house we didn't buy but profited on.
Last question, Adam. A lot of people have been messaging us. Can this even work in their market, or does it have to work in our market?
Yeah, and that's a great question, guys, because right now where we're sitting is really kind of the edge of our market. Like, it's embarrassing to even say that this is London, because it's really not. We're actually in a small town called Lambeth, just outside of London, and this re-rental, which is a beautiful brand new house, is pretty expensive. Like, when you compare our nightly rate to a lot of the people in the market who have arguably better locations, they're closer to downtown, they're closer to hospitals, they're closer to schools, they're closer to a lot of those venues that might draw crowds, we're still getting a lot of success. We've got a really high occupancy rate in this Airbnb, and it has nothing to do with our location or the market in Lambeth. Nobody, and I assure you that nobody is coming to Lambeth. It's impossible. There's nothing here. The best thing they've got going for them is a food land, and that's embarrassing. There's nothing here. So the only thing I can say about will this work in my market is yes. Anywhere that there's even remotely a chance of people visiting for any purpose, that could be work, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be they're simply passing through. There are so many reasons why people go through towns, even if you're on the outskirts of a bigger city or if you're in a small town, there's going to be people visiting. Think about the last time your in-laws stayed over. How was that? Would you rather just pay a couple $100s a night for them not to? Because I know that there's a lot of people that pay a couple $100s a night for their family to stay here for that reason. So guys, it will work in your market. It works almost everywhere. If you're having doubts about that, come on into our private Facebook group and we can show you some of the tips and how to find out exactly how much people are visiting your city and how popular your Airbnb is expected to be. So I'm going to walk you through a bit of the numbers and tell you about how we got here, because this is a strategy that a lot of people talk about and discuss about being illegal. And we wanted to tell you guys, so that you heard it here first, that this strategy is perfectly legal when you do it properly. So one of the first things you want to consider when you're approaching a landlord or thinking about doing an Airbnb re-rental, which is where you actually rent a building from a landlord and then re-put it on Airbnb and list it as a listing there, what you want to do is make sure that you give full disclosure. You need to tell the landlord what you're planning to do and that you're planning to profit on the building itself, and explain to them how you're going to do it, why they should trust you, and all the benefits of using Airbnb as opposed to using a long-term rental or a long-term tenant. And we did that very effectively by communicating through a realtor and citing our past Airbnb experience and using our success as a metric for professionalism and establishing credibility. Now, if you don't have that, you're going to have to get a little bit more creative and find some pitches and some ways to talk to your landlords that discuss the benefits of the platform of Airbnb itself or any other short-term rental platform that you're going to use. So I'm going to walk you through this and tell you how we arrived at our numbers and some things to look out for when you're considering doing an Airbnb re-rental. So our building, we're here again, like I mentioned, in London, Ontario, and this is a beautiful brand new home that's probably probably some of the top end real estate that you can find in this area. So this house is probably worth about $750,000, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But at the end of the day, I wanted to point out to you what it's costing us to be here and how much we're able to generate with this building, and show you guys why it makes a lot more sense for us to be using this building as an Airbnb re-rental than it does for our landlord who actually bought this property to rent out. And then he's going to eventually sell it. So the point of these new builds, and this is a great source of buildings like this for you guys, is if you approach new buildings, there's often landlords that want to flip these houses or sell them after they're built if they bought them pre-construction. So they're sitting on these for at least a year while they're waiting for their taxes to clear and so that they can sell it. They're really just sitting on a bad investment at the moment. So our landlord is losing money every single month. If you do the math, just pull up a mortgage calculator and then think about his taxes, you're gonna find out right away that he's probably losing money every single month while he rents to us, but here we are profiting. Again, this is all about disclosure, and this is all about creating a win-win with your landlord. So our monthly cost for rent is $2,350. Our utilities here are usually about $300, but we round it up for you guys to make it fair. And our insurance is about $75 a month. Now, you guys really want to focus on having your stuff covered here in terms of insurance. So Airbnb does come with liability insurance, $1 million policy, but you want to make sure that if you're going to get into a building, especially if it's not one that you own, that you're covered for anything that can happen. So we've got our tenant insurance here. It's only about $75 a month. Definitely worth it when you're talking about operating inside of a $750,000 house. And that's going to be another feature that's going to help you get through the door with your landlord. So these are basically our monthly costs, whether we operate the business or not, whether we make money or not. We're ending up paying $2,775. Now, of course, as I mentioned, Airbnb. This is stuff that we're always talking about, guys. We have a private Facebook group about it where we share a lot of our strategies and answer a lot of your frequently asked questions. But Airbnb is something that we've been playing with for over a year now, and a lot of the people in our network have kind of accumulated these and built up multiple listings. So we've sort of found out the best ways to operate them now and sort of how to optimize them. So we're actually using a management company that specializes in Airbnb. It costs us about $1,000 a month to make sure that this place is constantly turned over and in the best condition that we can possibly have it, so that we can maintain our 5-star ratings. The 5-star rating on Airbnb is everything. You have to maintain your superhost status, and you achieve it by doing all the strategies and techniques and tips and using everything that we talk about in our private Facebook group. But again, you guys need to use specialized service providers when you're thinking about management or cleaning services that will actually provide the duty of care, the level of care that you guys are going to need to keep that 5-star rating. So those costs for management and our cleaning fees are about $1,500 a month. Now, these are somewhat optional. We could run this ourselves, but we've chosen to outsource the management and the cleaning because we're interested in this sort of a business model as a passive investment. So you'll see really soon here, once we start talking about our revenue, that we're actually clearing really good money for something that we never have to look at again. So I'm never here. I never come here to clean this anymore. I never think about the supplies that are in here, like coffee and consumables. I'm never worried about the linens and whether or not they're damaged or clean and turned over. It's all done for us. It's all managed by an external source. And these are obviously a well-vetted company. And you guys are going to want to make sure, we talk about this quite a bit in our course as well, that you follow sort of the checklists and procedures when interviewing these people and when selecting a cleaning company, because they're not all made the same, and a lot of them haven't experienced Airbnb before. There's a very tight check-in window and a very tight checkout window, and you have to make sure that they're getting in here and turning this thing over on time, so that by the time your great guests, because you're only letting 5-star people in, by the time they get here, when they open that door, they're getting a 5-star reaction. So they want to see that from you right away. So we're able to get about $6,000 a month here with that management company. They keep us top of mind, they keep the listing fresh, they keep the space managed effectively so that we continue to get guests in here and keep this occupancy very high. So when you start looking at our revenue, less our costs, so we make about $6,000 a month in revenue, less our costs of about $4,275, you come out to a cash flow number of $1,725. Now that is a fantastic cash flow number for a building that we did not have to purchase. We did not have to save up the down payment or season the money in our bank account to get this. And in fact, we only ran into a setup cost that we're actually able to pay back fairly quick, and we're able to finance that setup cost using credit cards or line of credits, or you guys can figure out any other creative strategy you want to use to get into your setup, which is mostly furniture. So furnishing this building we did almost exclusively through IKEA, and we're going to show you that list. It's also available in our private Facebook group just as an attachment or a download, but we're going to walk you through here today, and you'll actually get a look at what the design looks like, what the feeling is of the building, and why we selected a lot of these products. So our furniture, it ended up costing about $14,000. About $12,000 of that's from IKEA. The other $2,000 is miscellaneous setup items like the smart television and mounting the TV. But you'll see here that we actually get it paid back really fast because this is one of our only costs. So when we first rented the place, we had to do a first and last deposit, which is fine. That was about $5,000, just under. And then our setup cost of $14,000, that pays for everything we needed to get started on the Airbnb and a lot of the consumables that sort of brought us a few months into the future. So we didn't really have to add any more capital after that. And this is again all financed either on credit cards or line of credit or any other way that you want to finance it. So you'll see if you divide our furniture and setup cost by our cash flow that it actually only takes us about 8 months to pay back that whole investment. And again, that's 8 months where we're sort of investing in ourselves because we're going to take this furniture once this lease is up and move it to the next re-rental. So this furniture, while it might be depreciating, you might get some minor damage to some of it, you're going to take almost all of it to your next buildings and continue using this forever, right? So this year, while we might suffer a bit on the cash flow because we want to pay back our initial investment, we're still looking forward to the future when we set up another one of these 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, because that's what we have all the supplies for, that we can get about that $1,725 a month in cash flow straight. That'll be pure cash flow at that point. But for now, you'll still notice that over the year, we're actually getting about 148% return on investment just from our cash flow. So this is money that we're literally not working for. It's passive. It shows up in the account. It comes right to the PayPal account, and it's all done by the marketing efforts of Airbnb and its platform and the success that it's been having, and obviously our management, so our cleaning and our actual listing manager. So guys, these are ridiculous returns. Like, we literally didn't have to buy this building. All we had to do was talk to a landlord that would have otherwise been trying to rent this out, and he didn't know what he was going to get, and just present a case to him, a business case. Be professional. Present to him why there's pros and cons to listing with another investor, and then share with him your story and your intentions, and make sure it's all on the lease, right? Because verbal agreements don't really count if you ever have to go to court, so make sure this stuff's on paper. But you can see right away, guys, that we're about to make about $7,000 this year in profit just from cash flow, and we get to retain the furniture and all the setup costs to move on to our next re-rental. So guys, this is an excellent strategy that you don't necessarily need to have a lot of cash on hand for. You guys can probably finance this, right? You can finance this furniture and setup costs, and then that way your only sort of out of pocket is your rent. And if you guys can't do first and last, then you probably should spend some more time investing in yourself, spend some more time on our groups like our Facebook group, learn more about the strategies, learn more about how to move forward in real estate investing, and then when you're ready, when you have a little bit more resources, then you can make that jump without having to qualify for the mortgage, without having to save and season that down payment, all those other benefits, and start earning and start becoming a real estate investor.
I hope you guys got all your questions answered about Airbnb and especially Airbnb re-rentals. If somehow this video didn't cover your questions, what you need to do is jump over to our Facebook group, link in the description down below. Jump over there, join the group completely free, and we go live in that group every single week sharing with you just our best practices and tips because we want to make you guys double your gross rents with Airbnb. Thank you again. Smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. Hit subscribe if you're new to my channel, and otherwise, until next time, remember, making money is a team sport. There's more than enough money in this world for us to all make it, but if you're not saving it, like, what's the point? Thanks, guys. Bye.